Welcome to our show. This is the first such international poetry reading organized by Shabdaguchha. Shabdaguchha is an international poetry magazine celebrating 22nd year of publication. You will see this program live on my Facebook. Also later, I'll put it on my YouTube channel called Hassanal Abdullah Creative Channel. Let me introduce my guests. I have several guests. First, Stanley H. Barkan, publisher and poet. He's been in the publishing business for more than 50 years and published so many poets from all over the world, more than 500 books, which is incredible, and more than 50 languages. Stanley, stand by. Next, we have Sultan Caddo, the Turkish-American poet and physicist, world-famous physicist. He has been writing poems like crazy every day, one poem every day. And very recently, he has a new book came out, which is very similar to the title of my book, Thin Layers of Time, right, Sultan?
Yeah, in the layers of time.
Stand by. And then we have Naznin Seamon, a poet and short story writer. She is also a high school teacher, teaching English. Seamon, please stand by. We do have an artist and a poet, Jacek Wysocki from Poland. And
hello.
Hi. Not only we call it an international poetry reading, we make it an international poetry reading. As you see, our poets are from different parts of the world. And in the future reading, we will try to keep this like that. So without further ado, I'll bring up Stanley for his presentation. Stanley, please read two poems. Stanley is going to present two poems back to back. You have the mic.
All right. The first poem I'm going to read is called Spilkes. And this is based on our current Chinese curse. You know, the curse was, may you live in interesting times. And boy, are we living in interesting times. My wife has had a very interesting reaction to this. First, she did a painting called Quarantine.
That's great.
And then she did another called Settling In. So I wrote this poem. Actually, it's after reading William Haynes' Vehicles, in which he has two poems on a page, each of 5-line, 3 5-line stanzas, which he calls cinquains. They're 5-line stanzas, but I don't think they're cinquains. But anyway, so it stirred me to write 15ers, what I'm calling 15ers. And this is one of the first 15ers called Spilkes. What that means, the poem will be clear. After 12 weeks of sheltered in place, quarantined, because of the Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times, now in the form of COVID-19, the virus born out of Wuhan, my wife Bibi is suffering from advanced Spilkes. Every day she says, when is this going to end? Like all Jewish women, she loves shopping. So much so that no matter how bad her back pain is and she's shopping, it immediately disappears. So now, deprived for so long, she cleans out her clothes closet, finds an old blouse and skirt, doesn't recall when she wore them before. Then it's like a replacement for shopping. Yesterday, she put on the old new blouse and skirt and went looking for more in the now cleaned up closet. For the rest of yesterday, she didn't seem to be suffering too much from Spilkus. But every once in a while, she would cry out, "Dr. Kevorkian, where are you when I need you?" And so it goes. When a woman is deprived of Century 21, Nordstrom's off the rack, Saks off Fifth, and other boutiques, for now, Bibi's closet will have to do a short respite for her Spilkus.
Excellent.
That poem is being published by in the literary review. Anyway, next poem is Because I'm Trying to Get Another Cat. I used to be called the Cat Man of Merrick, but all my cats are gone now. And Sultan Catto was really empathetic with this. I have to. Oops, lost you. I'm lost. I don't see.
I could hear you. Go ahead. You're there.
I lost the image. Okay.
You're there.
So I'm trying to get another cat. My house cat was called Pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel, yeah. Pumpernickel was our friend. Yes.
Published by the New Feral Press, Joan and John Digby, editors. The Cats of Brooklyn. Brooklyn cats breakfast on birds. No canned wet pet food for them, nor kibbles and bits of dry food. Brooklyn cats are street cats. They rule rooftops, fire escapes, and fences. They roam backwards in alleyways and won't be confined in condos, cages, or courtyards. These are the cats of Brighton, Borough Park, Bay Ridge, Bensonhurst, and Bushwick. These are not the cats of Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, or the Bronx. These Brooklyn cats are tough. Not even the big dogs of Bed-Stuy will tangle with them, knowing they, like their cousins of Tel Aviv, fiercely fang and claw all comers. You can take the cat out of Brooklyn to Long Island, Westchester, or Connecticut, but you can't take the Brooklyn out of the cat. That's dedicated to the little gins. That's Sultan Catto's cats.
Thank you, Stanley H. Barkan, for your wonderful presentation. But the last poem we want to hear is Brooklyn Bridge later. So stand by. The next poet I'm going to call for presentation is Sultan Caddo. As I said, Sultan is one of the famous physicists of the world at this moment, waiting for Nobel Prize any moment, any year. And we will celebrate that. But first, let us hear his poem. Sultan, present your poem.
Okay, thank you, Hassanal. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm gonna read from the book called Bonding. It was produced by Stanley and the New Feral Press in Long Island. One poem from it. I'll read it in a moment. And about your comments, you're the one who was pushed for the Nobel Prize, Hassanal, and you have a good chance. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Anyway, hopefully you'll get it. And I'm going to travel there with you when you get it.
We will be together.
Right. All right. The poem is called If Only. If only I could place my lips next to your cheeks, pretend to whisper a poem from the heart. Will you stir up the whirlwinds of furious fire? Lift your hands to reach the stars? If only I could convert my spirit full of warm feelings into a high temperature superconducting state and enter your soul without any resistance, would I be able to remain there like an ancient fire king, warming you from within during your wintry months. If only I, if only if. You see, with coming of the age, I mastered the meaning of quiet, the music inventing silence, rivers molding time, still in awe of the man I pretend to be. If only I could turn into a Sufi monk, wandering the cosmos. If only I could reach the point where my pencil breaks. If only, if. Thank you.
Excellent. Next
First.
poem, one more.
One more, okay. I'll read one from this new book printed just recently, Lost in Layers of Time.
Lost in Layers of Time.
Lost in Layers of Time.
Excellent.
The poem is called Hayat. Hayat means, in many of the Middle Eastern languages, life. Hayat. I just opened up an antique store. I sell time. There are 4 rooms in my repository called air, water, fire, and earth. In the first one, the past has been dust-coated by a sweet-smelling slow forgetfulness. The air, fragrance of the sea, the sky are all there on its shelves. The water room contains splashes of rain, gusts of wind with a sundial on the wall. It is where you experience lightning flashes from its continually turning wheels. The fire room has a burning fireplace, where the wind arriving from the first room lifts the dust of clouds, sifted dry twigs along the mountainsides, scorches the thirsty streams hiding themselves amid the huge livid rocks. Ah, the last room, where madness lies. It is where I buy and sell fantasies, black holes that warp space-time sheets, esoteric mysteries of Kabbalistic code, to ascend communion with the divine, hidden dimensions, ancient geometries, and buried poems in the silence and deceptive light of the depths. My 4 little kittens, promenading between the rooms, intoxicate the customers with their friendliness and with their meows. They are the peddlers making the whole universe take on another meaning.
Wow, that's great. As a physicist, my viewers are listening to black holes and geometry and other things. And this is really great, Sultan.
Thank you.
Stand by. We will now introduce Naznin Seamon. Seamon, please read 2 poems. As I said, Seamon is a poet and short story writer, an author of about 10 books. He is a high school English teacher. Seamon, you have the mic.
Sure. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. The first one I'm going to read is originally written in English. The title is Evidence. They ask me to show my bruises, but I have none. My eyes were never swollen. No one ever punched me on my face or tortured to leave me half dead. No mark of strangulation on my slender but irritated throat. I have no discoloration on my fairly light skin. Never I went on hunger to be a bag of bones. No lost limbs or injury to mend, nor do I look withered at all. They refuse to have reliance on my assertion, as if I am the transgressor, and give me abominable looks waiting to tear me apart like a cackle of hyena. Destitute, I give a blank stare. How can I show my wounded heart, captivated thoughts, wrecked desires, shattered dreams, unredeemed hopes, suppressed wills, silenced voice, and on and on? No one left any evidence except my jealous memory of ostracity and deserted struggle.
Thank you.
And now I'm going to read one of the poems that was translated from Bangla to English. And it was published in one of my books, Wholeness in the Horizon. That was published by Joan Digby, Feral Press. The title of the poem is Human Race from the East. The abscess that has been growing on the pate of the world for millennia is now in the worst pain. Countless attacks of the world wars of independence, the Persian Gulf, and the Cold War have totally broken its fresh green branches. Its smooth body, like a teenage girl, is inflamed by air attacks. Its rotten vagina now spreads a rank stink in the restless, sick, and bluish atmosphere made by the naked launch of atoms. Although people are confused by the beckoning of a world composed three-fourths of colorless water, often lives are going down the drain, but still move on towards the perpetual clock with dreaming eyes, as if they will be at peace in the new millennium. And right before the abscess starts throwing its pulse to the world, a Nobel laureate of the century comes forward with a scale to measure the distance of the human race from the East. Thank you.
Thank you, Shimon, for your presentation. Great to hear from Stanley, Sultan, and Shimon. Now we are presenting Jacek Wysocki, who is from Poland. And I met him last year in Greece first and then Poland. And I really enjoyed his hospitality. And there was the poets, writers, and many personalities in the poetry festival, both poetry festival in Greece and Poland. And Jacek is an artist. If you remember this book, Contemporary Bangladeshi Poetry, came out last year. Stanley H. Barkan was the publisher, and Jacek is the cover designer. Without further ado, Jacek, please read your poem.
Welcome everybody in the world, and thank you very much, Hassan, for the invitation. I read two poems in English and my language.
Please.
Thank you. Lympho, a garden of manners society, where the unhealthy polyflowers give a birth to new forms, new, immutable, learned society. Lympho in vitro. Now in Polish. Lympho, ogrodzie zmanierowanego społeczeństwa, gdzie niezdrowe polikwiaty rodzą nowe formy, niezmienne wyuczone społeczeństwo. Lympho in vitro. And now, second poem. Empty cities, giants fight as pawns. On the chessboards, ghosts, heroes, mythical gods. We will win this fight. Maybe the win will happen. Without you, we awaken. We know and we wait. And I wanna present special for Sultan.
It's very short.
My new abstract collage from the drawing of sketches.
Oh, let me. Okay.
About black holes matter.
Oh, I see.
And about polyflowers.
That is excellent, excellent. You have any more art that you want to show us?
Yes, I have.
This is yours too, right?
Yes. I work in my home.
This is the one.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I want to show you one more. That two works will be shown on the International Festival of Erotic Arts.
By the way, I should
Yes.
mention that Kazimir Burnat was the one who is the president of Polish Writers Union, invited me, and hopefully we'll have him reading in the next session as soon as we can hold on to him. And
Very good. Very good. Okay.
So, you have any other poems? Since your poems are very
I have one new.
Okay, go ahead, read.
Thank you. Silent scream. He remains hidden. Smothered, intimidated, beaten. We don't scream anymore. Lyrics, entries on the walls, protests are not enough. To cross the wall, we must learn words of equality. After all, no one will lead us out of the puzzle, from the maze of Daedalus, for free.
Yeah, we need inequality everywhere. Thank you so much, Jacek. This is my time now. I am going to, from the book, I just showed it to you, Contemporary Bangladeshi Poetry, and these are my own translation. Every poem here is my translation. Let me read my experience in a grave, which is in Bengali is Paborer Obhiggota. Last year, during the summer vacation, I dug a grave for myself. I thought I would have good use of it sometime. Let me tell you more about the story. I actually did not have to dig a new grave. I just had to occupy an old one and then fix it up a little. To be frank, I learned it from other people. Occupying homes, land, language, estates, and even politics is a great human practice. I also installed a wooden door to the grave. Who else would install such a door but me? Within a couple of months after the break, I got a call to use it, a stitch in time, as they say. So I entered, turning the key as the darkness wove its tangible tongue all over the wall. Loneliness crumbled me. The very first night was unbearable. There was a freezing cold furling beneath my body. I took off my clothes and squeezed them under me. The night was long, fearful, frantic, and merciless. At daybreak, I went out responding to my natural call. Who would ever make a loo in a grave? Silently finishing it fast, I went back in. Roaches, worms, leeches, and many more creepy crawlies scared me to death. Thinking of snakes, my body grew cold, but my gruesome days in the grave gradually crawled into crucified compulsions. Thank you. That was the first one. The next is going to be a sonnet. Swatantra sonnet. As you know that I have been writing sonnets differently for many years now. Swatantra sonnet 77. I have heard the noble sound of your footsteps, my love. Come closer and slowly open your heart. Spread the fragrance of your beautiful breast. Let the door be closed. Embrace me tightly with your gentle hand and set your sweetest lips on mine like a wild dove. Keep on crawling up to finding my heart's main thread, vivid as the spring tumbling at the ocean floor. Take off the seamless boutique sari and raise both hands to untie your hair. Brush me like rose petals. Without you, I am always lonely, dark, dry and dark. Implant the fresh, eternal light in my green land. Don't bother making the bed tonight. Rather soothe the warmth of my tense body, my tropical cells, spreading the pure touch of your astounding spark. Thank you, everybody. Now let me bring everybody in. Well, hi Stanley, is everything okay?
Yeah.
How is your time passing during this Corona season? Horrible Corona.
I just read a lot, eat, and edit a lot. That's all. I get my 3 grandchildren come and work with me on making some order out of the chaos of cross-cultural communications. 3 times a week they come. They make 3 hours a day. They get $10 an hour. And
$10 an hour. I should come to work. My summer vacation. Okay.
My grandson Jeremy and my granddaughter Maddie and my granddaughter Tasha. The 3 of them work together very well. The main thing is that they're working well together. That's worth more than anything else. Okay, so you want me to read the last poem?
Not now. Wait, Sultan, how is your time passing?
Pretty well. I'm sitting in my balcony right now. This is where I sit all day long. And my cats come and sit on my lap in and out all the time.
Can we see your cat? Is it near you?
No, he just went in.
Oh, okay.
I showed one of the cats to you before, but they're inside now. So well, just the time with the cats and writing, talking to Stanley from time to time, and hoping that he gets a cat sooner.
Stanley had a few cats, a lot of cats, I would say, but they're not there anymore.
No more. Have no more cats.
What about Jacek? How is your time passing?
To a tortoise.
How is the Corona situation in Poland?
It's serious now. Very, very serious situation because I'm working from Monday to Friday. Every day, yeah. And people have problem in work. We don't have. I don't have a help from government. Yeah, you know, I'm working every day from Monday to Friday. Friday, yes. It's a lot of problems. We have many society problems. Yeah, always.
I would say stay safe.
It's a crisis. Now we have a strong crisis. Yeah. People must speak.
I see. Is it? I think right now is the situation is decreasing.
It's increased. Spreading. Yes, it's spreading.
Wow.
Yes.
In our part, New York City. I mean, New York is going down, but all over America in some other states are not that good. Like California, Boston,
yes.
Other cities are not that good. Shimon, how is your time passing?
Well, people who know me know very well that I'm a lazy person from head to toe. So I really would have enjoyed this time if we were not deeply affected by this pandemic. So, staying home doesn't bother me actually. I enjoy and I have things and I really can, because throughout the years, I actually, because of workload and everything, I feel like I become illiterate because I cannot even finish a book in 6 months. But I have been trying to, read a lot. That's what I'm trying to do. But this pandemic is really, affecting people in various ways we can't even imagine.
Excellent. I also see that you have been taking a course, which is which is not a sign of laziness, though.
Yeah, I'm doing my second master's actually, so I'm doing 3 courses.
No, that's not the sign of laziness. As we see that this is 30 minutes past, we have 30 more minutes, so we'll go for 2 more poems each. So Stanley, 2 more poems.
Okay. I neglected to give proper credit for Shaliach Mitzvah that was published by Leroy Chatfield in the Sindak Literary Journal.
I must say a few words that without Stanley, we would not be having this session, this cross-cultural activities. He has started it 50 years ago, collecting poems from all over the world, and his publication is called Cross-Cultural Communications. So we are now interacting cross-culturally, internationally. This is for Stanley. Without him, I would not be speaking in here. He made me what I am right now. I have to give him that credit. Thank you, Stanley. Go ahead.
Well, I have to thank you because you justify cross-cultural communications existence, because you're the real thing. I also want to give credit. I didn't give credit that, and let me see how to get this on there. It's translated by Sepide Zamani into Persian or Farsi, as it's called. I neglected to give that credit. So now I'm going to read a poem which I wrote a long time ago, but was only recently published, just the current edition of the 7th Quarry, edited by Peter Thabit Jones. Shaliach Mitzvah. In Jerusalem, he gave me $1 to give to a needy man somewhere in New York, a blessed message that I'm told would protect me. The messenger of a good deed comes to no harm. So I carried it like a live coal in my pocket, wondering how I would get through security. I fingered it like a worry bead, like a Hindu crystal, all the long journey from Tel Aviv to New York. It glowed hot and fiery all the car trip back to my home in Merrick, Long Island. And all night long it threatened to burst into flames. The next morning, I drove into Manhattan, sought out a truly worthy-looking homeless man, took out the $1, stuck it in his hand, glad to be rid of it, like the flask in the Stevenson tale of the bottle imp. As I turned away, I heard a crack, a sound of thunder. I turned back, and there was fire. Flames burst out of the hand of the homeless man. All the homeless men were burning like the beggars and cripples and poor in the legend of Vlad Tepes. All New York was ablaze. The world, too, was ending in fire, while I was frozen, turned to a pillar of ice.
Wow, that's excellent, Stanley. One more poem, Stanley. We have time.
Okay, then the one you want me to read. All right.
Yes.
Immortality.
Broken Bridge. And it's on record.
This is, okay, Immortality. I jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge twice, but I failed. I didn't die. The Guinness Book of World Records called me up, said I should try again. If I would, I'd set a record. So I jumped a third time and succeeded. At last, I've achieved immortality.
I gotta tell you, it took me 10 years to translate this poem because it sounds very easy, but it's, transcribing it to another language is not that easy. It's one of your masterpiece, I would say. Everybody loves this poem.
Danyabad.
Okay, Stanley, stand by. Let me get Sultan. Sultan, you are going to read
Okay.
2 poems, and I must say, Sultan, Hayat is known in our language too. Everybody knows what Hayat means. That's very interesting. That Arabic, some of the Arabic words are in the everyday practice in Bengali language too. So,
Right.
thank you. So go ahead. 2 more poems.
Yep. And Hassanal, before you come into the scene, you have to read If I Had Some Cash, since you.
If I have some little guy, let me see if I have the book in front of me. Okay, I will.
Okay. All right. I'll because you said you're gonna be doing some music or something, right?
No, I'm not. I do not do music publicly. I said I have been composing music, and I'm putting it on YouTube. I have a couple of songs in there, and there are some musicians doing it from Bangladesh too. So if you go to on my YouTube channel, Hassanal Abdullah Creative Channel, I would say please subscribe me and listen to those songs.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's
Okay,
great.
Sultan, your time.
So, I'll read one poem called The Dancer. Walking on music tighter than a piano string, she performs a sacred dance. Cymbals at her fingertips, heart at the origin of rhythm, eyes not attentive to the blues of the season, undresses the night in a glass of wine. Distilled like a rare essence from abstract truth, separating herself from the far-off lands of literature, her motions resemble the sea. Like the sea, she is the distant spirit, memory of the city, master of the bush and its mystery, a bird on a wire. Weight of her eyelids, taste of thyme and salt. She drops her wings to the waters below, fashioning waves, melodic lines weaving in and out of harmonic progressions. Black shirt and a little scarf, a seductive smile hidden behind a mask, she leaves as she must, with the ebbing tide, dancing away the night on a tightrope, sailfish, glowing bubbles.
Wow, harmonic progression. Here is music.
Okay, one more quick one. Okay, another one on music.
Very good.
Okay, it's from the latest book, The Lost in Layers of Time. It's called Chasing Coltrane. Coltrane, the jazz musician. Walking down the Bellagio stairs, retrieving melodies of old sax moans, perched upon the staircase of scales in semitones, fleeing through the layers of space-time, hours weighing heavy upon his fingertips, a pencil leaving its faltering graphite trail upon staves over his soul's blank pages, a saxophonist rambled towards a lagoon at Lake Como on the way to discover a hidden universe in a jazz song.
Wow. I really love it. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Now, without further ado, we are going to listen to Shimon. Shimon, you are now going to present 2 more poems since we have time.
Okay, so with your permission, I would like to actually read one of my translated poems, but I also want to read in the original language, Bangla.
Yeah,
Is
go
that
ahead. Go ahead,
Thank you.
please. Okay.
So the title in Bangla is Thik Pouche Jabo. Actually, this is what I'm going to try is that I'm going to, instead of reading the whole poem and then read the English version, I'm going to read part of it in Bangla and then go to English and then so on and so forth. Okay.
Okay.
The title, actually, the English one is translated again by Hassanal Abdullah. I couldn't have done so, so thank you for that. And it is again from my book Hollowness in the Horizon.
I thought I know that guy. Thank you.
Which guy? Yes. If you don't know, don't worry. I will introduce him to you. Okay. The English title is My Desired Destination. শূন্য শতাব্দীকে হাতের তালুতে রেখে হামাগুড়ি দিতে দিতে জানি একদিন ঠিক পৌঁছে যাব উদ্দিষ্ট গন্তব্যে কষ্টের ইট পাথরে জীবন আর মৃত্যুর মধ্যবর্তী সেতু তৈরি করে Holding the new century in the palm of my hand, I would be able to scroll and reach my desired destination, making a bridge between life made from the stone-hard bricks of deepest pain and the inevitable death. জীবনের অস্তমান সৌন্দর্য বিষণ্ণ বিলীন হবার আগেই যাবতীয় অনিয়ম আর দুরাচার পায়ে পিষে পরিবৃত্তির পথ মারিয়ে পরিশ্রান্ত আমি ঠিক পৌঁছে যাব পরিপৃক্ত বৃত্তের গভীরে Before the fall of the declining beauty, smashing the entire obliquity and miscreant misfortune under my feet, hemming through the transitional road, tired and jaded, I would reach deep into the assimilating circle. কষ্টের ইট পাথরে জীবন আর মৃত্যুর মধ্যবর্তী সেতু তৈরি করে শূন্য শতাব্দীতে হাতের তালুতে রেখে জানি একদিন ঠিক পৌঁছে যাব আমার উদ্দিষ্ট গন্তব্যে Making a bridge between life made from stone-hard bricks of deepest pain and the inevitable death, holding the new century in the palm of my hand, I would definitely reach my desired destination. জীবনের অস্তমান সৌন্দর্য বিষণ্ণ বিলীন হবার আগেই যাবতীয় অনিয়ম আর দুরাচার পায়ে পিষে পরিবৃত্তির পথ মারিয়ে পরিশ্রান্ত আমি ঠিক পৌঁছে যাব পরিপৃক্ত বৃত্তের বিষাদে Before the fall of declining beauty, smashing the entire obliquity and miscreant fortune under my feet, stepping over the transitional road, tired and jaded, I would surely reach into the assimilating circle of melancholy. Thank you.
Excellent. You want to read another poem?
I read two.
You read two? One in Bengali, one in English?
Yeah, if you have time, I mean, I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. This one is, the title is Insanity, and it is originally written in English.
Yeah.
The voice of insanity hounds me, trailing from past to present, rupturing my sweet, sensible, delicately compassionate mind. Like a hunted deer, I too writhe in pain as if it's my utmost destiny. Abandoned, I bury my deepest thoughts in the graveyard, though the hot air swirls around me like a bee to the honeysuckle. In a dusty world, I am deserted, deprived of my dreamy life. My shadow is my only companion. Around neck is my mother's umbilical cord, choking me hard. Penetrating pest over my deserted body, and my mind hammers my nonchalance. I have nowhere to escape. Thank you.
Yeah, you have nowhere to escape from poetry, obviously,
I see that.
and from the brotherhood of poetry, as Stanley Kunitz once welcomed me and said, "Welcome to the brotherhood of poetry." And Stanley Kunitz said that all poets from all over the world came from the same mother. That is very interesting.
I'm really hoping someday someone will, instead of brotherhood or sisterhood, come up with a phrase that that is not gender biased.
Yeah, well, poet is not gender biased.
Yeah, that is true. So something like that.
All right, now we are going to listen to Jacek again. Jacek, unmute your mic, and two more poems. If you want to talk about your artwork, you could do that too. It's up to you. Two more poems. Jacek.
Yes. Okay. System of changes finds unanswered solutions, demands from this world of change new societies, defends himself before inhuman, superhuman control, giving back what was taken, defending the rights of destroyed nature. That we would create new societies constantly plagued by disease, not only by virus, but through viruses of human greed. From a society of the past, eternally harassed by disease, not only by virus. And one about love. Like a comet, blazing, flashing in the midst of ocean waters, blue sand in one grain, one out of thousand, a pearl, gem, hearts amphora, incense, love, yours love. Thank you.
Wow. Excellent and very short.
And I can show yes, some works about how yes, from my idea, because first I sketching, you know, I'm painting, sketching first, and later I create a collage. Yes, I use photography and all techniques. I show you about what I think in my mind, how my mind is working. Yeah.
Let me give you the whole. Wow. You did this from photography?
No, from sketching. I can show you. Sometimes I'm sketching. I can show you some sketches.
Please. From this sketch, it came out to that. Wow. From these couple of sketches, that was the final product?
No, not only for that, because many artists have my art because I give him like a gift, you know.
I see.
Because it's new. Maybe I create something.
It looks very good.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. All right. Friends and viewers, now is my turn. I'm going to read two poems as well, and then I'll bring all my guests together. We'll have a little talk before ending this session. So Sultan asked me to read with a little cash. Before that, I'm going to read one more sonnet. Is about the bombing in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, right? Yeah. Sonnet number 121. Sometimes death itself stays awake for the whole night, throughout the whole night, the way once Nagasaki did with the flames of the nuclear bomb in its charred heart. Those Stalled August night might be harshly suited to the date that coward, hapless, and husky time torn the soul of civilization with its raging emblems. Since then, anything is possible in this world. Since then, we live closer to death, as if our days are calm like a half-wit. Staying awake, we could hear the date, like insects singing vigorous vibes. Our Hiroshima existence, often shrouded in the cascade of death and hunger, and the rage, the bloody wounds of the late 1940s would still ooze horrible past, grinding all our lost lives. Thank you. And my last poem is With a Little Cash. It's from the first book Stanley published. If you can see the, oh, that's the backside. Okay. The backside, I have another book came out the backside, Breath of Bengal. And the first poem of this book, With a Little Cash. If I have a little cash, I will open an art shop. My modernist call will raise echo and journey to corners of places not reached before. Let a few days pass by. If I have a little cash, I'll wash your soft feet with spring water. If I have some money, I will buy the giant sky. Wandering all day on its floor, birds will wake me up and they will again put me easily asleep. The world will find my hands in its own if the crooked line of restlessness is wiped away. With some money, I will spend my time listening to the bees. Faraway conversations, no longer talking from wire to wire. No more wasting of sinew. Bangladesh, take note of it. I will rest my head upon your breast and sleep all night in tranquility when I have just a little cash. I've been working for that little cash for 30 years now. In September 12th, that will be 30 years I have been living in the US. Let me see all my poets. We do have about 7 minutes left. Stanley, you could talk about how many languages you know along the way publishing books.
Well, I've published 59 languages.
59 languages, including Bengali.
When you ask me how many languages do I know, that means that I'm fluent in. I'd have to say I'm fluent in English.
You're fluent in English. But how many you know?
How many what?
How many you can speak a little bit, you know?
A half dozen. I could speak a little Italian, Spanish, Hebrew, Yiddish, Russian, you know.
Can you say Bengali word?
Dhanyabad.
Dhanyabad. Thank you.
But I'm not fluent in the other languages. I have varying degrees of knowledge, but with a dictionary, I'm very good at translating or retranslating some when I get poems translated, like from Jermaine Drogenbrot for the Ithaca series. He sends me his translation, and then I make it as good as I can in English. And based on that English translation, 26 others translated it into other languages. I don't know. Have you been doing it in Bengali for him?
Not necessarily. No.
Because it's a weekly thing.
Yes, I can't keep up. I'm a creative writer. I can't do that.
I'd also like to say that I'm
tell me something about the process of translation. What do you think the translator should care while he's translating from any language?
Well, he should be careful to try to make it a poem in the target language. He should not be that too much concerned with literal translation. You look at it and everything, but you want it in the final product. It should be a poem in the language he's translating it into. That is paramount. The tone is paramount. So sometimes, you know, said something is lost in translation. Yet I've written about how something can be gained in translation. For instance, a poem by Menke Katz called On the Death of a Day-Old Child. In one line he has, "The wind will sing my lullabies to you where the saddest grass grows." Now in Italian, that first part is, Il vento ti canterà la mia ninna nana. Clearly in the Italian, it's more musical. And then there's the word, you are the beginning when light is wise. Now, there's something believed in Jewish culture, in Yiddish culture, that a soul, when it comes from heaven, it knows everything. So an angel has to come and remove this part, the philtrum, the skin between the nose and the lip here, to remove that, because if a child knows everything, he can't function as a human, or to kiss the knowledge from his eyes. Now, the word in Swahili is nuru, and it means the light of understanding. When we use the word light, it's very general. It could be lamplight, it could be candlelight, it could be sunlight. It's very general. But nuru is more precise. It is the light of understanding. So in the case of the Swahili translation, it's more precise. So something can be gained in translation. Let's say one is more musical in Italian, the other is more precise. However, when you try to translate it into Chinese, On the Death of a Day-Old Child, could not say that, because it'd be wishing the death on the child of the person who's speaking. So they had to say something like, the child went away. We call that a kinahara in Yiddish, or a malocchio in Italian, if you say on the death of a day-old child. Speaking of it, you're wishing it on. Okay?
Yeah.
So to conclude, when translators translate, they have to aim at making the translation into the language that they're translating into a poem or a story, whatever. Okay?
Yeah, in case of Bengali poets, as I have been translating Bengali poets, like more than 30 poets I translated, most of them don't like the translation because it changes. In English, it does not sound like the original Bengali poem. It happens a lot in translation, and for example, Tagore, who got Nobel Prize in 1913 and became a world celebrity, he translated his songs into prose poem. You know, so most of the Bengali poets, they do not actually try to see that. It happens like that. They want a song translated into a song, which is...
May I just say something?
Yes, please.
I actually feel honored to have the opportunity to see Stanley and as well as Joan to work on translation. And the way they do, this is my experience, that they first internalize the poem. They will ask the poet like 100 times, what does it mean? Tell me, what do you mean here? And when they can do it, then they translate it or, edit on it. I think that's the best way.
Well, in the process of translation, surely the ideal is to have the poet and the translator together interacting. But I'm saying that in the final analysis, what must come out is a poem in the target
language.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. We are in the final minute. Sultan, you want to add something to it?
Well, I believe that the best translations are always done by the best poets. So if you're not a poet, you should not really try to translate poetry. And because you can really understand and then, put your feelings with it and so forth. So it's really important that the translators are also good poets. That's what I would say.
An excellent point.
Excellent point. Yes.
If the translator is not a poet too, then forget about it.
When Stanley Kunis translated Anna Akhmatova, another giant from Russian, it became poetry. It really became great English poems. So that is very important. Shakespeare was translated by Sudhindranath Dotto, one of the great Bengali poets, and this was excellently translated. Later, many people tried, and this was completely garbage. So it's like a giant should try to translate another giant. Otherwise, it doesn't work that way. Thank you so much. And Jacek, you want to add final word? Like 10 seconds?
I confirm with the words of Sultan, because if you are not an artist, or you don't feel the words, you don't understand the meanings. I confirm with the words of Sultan.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Stanley H. Barkan, the great poet from US, Sultan Catto, a great poet, Turkish-American great poet, Jacek Wysocki, great artist. I really admire his work, art, and we enjoyed your poetry. Seamon, thank you for your wonderful, wonderful, great poems. A new Bengali giant. And I am Hassanal Abdullah, the editor of Shabdaguchha. And those who are with us viewing this live, thank you so much for being with us for more than an hour now. And we will see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Good to see you.
Thank you, Hassan.
Thank you very much, too.
Thank you.